Breakthrough. My name is Victoria Brown. I'm a first year at Sarah Lawrence College, and this is my teaching video. Come on, let's get started. Hi guys, so yesterday in class we talked about different kinds of poetry and what makes a poem, and so today we're going to look a bit more in depth at a single poem and learn about how to read in the annotated reading style. So does anyone know what annotated reading is? No? Okay, that's fine. That's the reason that we're here. So if everyone could just go ahead and read the poem that you have in front of you, and as you're reading and you're thinking about things, if you could use some sort of writing implement to mark thoughts that you had, or maybe circle something you had a question about. And when you're done, if you could just turn your paper over so I know that you're all done, that'd be great. Thanks. Okay, great. I see that you guys have all finished. Could you all turn your papers back over, and if we could have a volunteer to read the poem. Em, okay. Volunteer to read as well, and while Em and Sarah are reading, if you have any other thoughts or notes that occurred to you from hearing the poem out loud, you can write those down as well.
When I was 7, we went for a picnic up to a magic foresty place. I knew there were tigers behind every boulder, though I didn't meet one face to face.
When I was older, we went for a picnic up to the very same place as before, and all of the trees and the rocks were so little they couldn't hide tigers or me anymore.
Would anyone like to volunteer to share their thoughts?
Sure, I will. Something that stood out to me was the very last line, or comparing the tigers, because in the first stanza, the writer says that he knew that there were tigers there, and that's kind of like tigers were kind of a representation of fear. Mm-hmm. And then in the second stanza at the very end, he said that the rocks and everything's, as he's grown older, kind of metaphorically, everything else is smaller now, and the tigers couldn't be hidden, but he also couldn't be hidden.
Mm. Thank you, that's extremely insightful. Em touched on a really great idea of this transition from being very young and seeing the world in one way to being a lot older and seeing the world differently. Can you maybe think of experiences you had when that happened, or something else that reminds you of a book maybe, or experience?
Yes, this actually reminds me of a time of when I was younger, I used to my grandparents' house had all these, it was a very old house, so they had all these secret doors, and they were so interesting to me, and but then when I got older, went back to that house, they were just old passageways, and I couldn't even fit in them anymore. So.
Wow.
I have another experience about the size of rocks, which is that when I was little, me and my friends would go play in the creek behind my school, and then when I was older, I went back to my school when I went to the creek again, and it used to be that we would jump on the rocks trying to not get wet to get to the other side, and we had to jump from one to the other, and when I was bigger, I could just step from one to the other. And also, it wasn't the end of the world if I fell into the water, because it's
your ankles.
Yeah.
That's wonderful. So I have sort of reveal for you guys that what you were just doing when you were circling things that you saw as connected to tigers, or thinking about an experience where things change, is actually annotated reading. And this more in-depth reading that we're doing helps us to focus more and to integrate. Do you guys know what that word means? To sort of put into ourselves and to hold it with us. The ideas that are centered to the poem into ourselves. So everybody, thank you so much for coming today. And just before we leave, I'd like to share an academic cheer that will help you to remember to annotate when you're doing reading for school. And so I wrote the cheer up here, so it's very easy to remember. It goes 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's read better than before. 5, 6, 7, 8. When we read, we annotate. Try it. Do you guys want to all try it together?
Let's do it together.
Okay, sounds good. 1,
2, 3, 4. Let's read better than before. 5, 6, 7, 8. When we read, we annotate.